Good evening, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. This is Rich again, back for your third and final video blog of the night for Wednesday, December 17, 2014, around 8:30 p.m. in Belleville, Massachusetts. It's about 42 degrees outside and some sprinkles falling through the air. Okay, some news to report. The San Diego Padres have acquired outfielder Wil Myers from the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays are cutting down payroll, and they had to move Wil Myers. I made a prediction like last week that the Rays are on their way to probably finishing with the worst record in the American League, and I think it's going to happen. And also, the Chicago Bears have put starting quarterback Jay Cutler on the bench. I think Jay Cutler's time with the Bears is over. I think once the season's done with, he's going to be cut. And that's about it on that. And speaking about Chicago, my third and final video blog of subject of the night is about one of the best players in Chicago White Sox history, the absolute best player. It's my personality profile, and it's Frank Thomas. Was known as the Big Hurt. Frank played his majority of his career with the White Sox. He was one of the most baseball feared hitters of his generation, and he was one of the players who spoke out against PED use at all. And Frank was born and raised in Columbus, Georgia. He played baseball and football in high school, and he was a good football player, very good in fact, that he got a scholarship to Auburn University, which is in the SEC, and he played for the football team for about a year. He also played for Auburn's baseball team as well. He excelled in baseball better than football, and he quit playing football. And Frank was so good at playing baseball, he played on the 1987 Pan American USA team. Amazing. And he was the final player cut to try out for the 1988 USA Olympic baseball team. The Chicago White Sox drafted Frank Thomas for the first pick, which was 7th overall in the 1989 Major League Baseball draft. Frank only played 1.5 years in the minor leagues because he was so good, and he was a good player, good first baseman, hit for power, hit for average. Chicago White Sox called him up in August of 1990, and he played 19 seasons in Major League Baseball with the White Sox, and most of the time he ended his career with the A's and the Blue Jays. But Frank Thomas, when he came into Major League, in 1990, he was a star. He hit for a lot of average. He had 13 seasons of 20 or more home runs. 11 times he drove in 100 or more RBIs. 9 times he was a 300 hitter. He was a consistent good hitter. Hit for average, hit for home runs, drove in a lot of RBIs and stuff. 5 times he made the All-Star team. 4 times he was a Silver Slugger Award. And 2 times he won American League's Most Valuable Player in 1993 and 1994, back to back. And 1994 was significant because he won the MVP award, the American League, and Jeff Bagwell won the National League MVP award. You know what the fact they have? They were born the same day in the same year, which was May 27th, 1968. Both of them, they're the only MVPs ever to win the MVP on the same year and born on the exact same day in the same year. That's an interesting fact and stuff. And also Frank Thomas won the 1997 AL batting championships. Frank Thomas' skills were pretty good the first 10 years of his career, but they kind of declined in around 2001 or so, and he moved from first base to DH. He was a great DH. He played the majority of his career with the DH stuff, and his skills were declining and stuff. By the end of 2005, the Chicago White Sox released him. He no longer needed his service, but he got a World Series win because of White Sox won the World Series in 2005. Frank Thomas ended his career playing for the Oakland A's in 2006. He had 38 home runs. He signed with the Blue Jays in 2007. He hit his 500 home run in a Blue Jays uniform. Once he hit that home run, he was on his way to the Hall of Fame. Then he played for the Blue Jays part of 2008, got released, and got back with the A's to end his career in 2008. Frank Thomas was one of Major League Baseball players who advocated for drug testing and stuff, and he spoke out against PED use. Frank Thomas never used PEDs at all, and he took a stance on that, saying PED use in baseball is not tolerated because it inflates numbers just to get the big payday, to get numbers like that. And Frank Thomas never used PEDs at all, which is pretty good. And Frank set a lot of records. He is like the all-time home run leader with the White Sox, 448, and RBIs were 1465, and holding a lot of other offensive records for the Chicago White Sox. Career stats for Frank Thomas: the Big Hurt, 301 average, 2,468 hits, 521 home runs, and 1,704 RBIs. He retired after the 2008 season. He dabbled in doing color analyst for TBS and then Comcast Sportsnet Chicago for White Sox games. The White Sox retired in his number 35 in 2010. In 2014, Frank Thomas became a first ballot Hall of Famer. He easily got into the Hall of Fame by having over 80% of the vote, which was pretty good. A lot of people were predicting if Frank would squeak in maybe by a few votes here and there, but he easily got in with 83% of the votes and stuff like that. And he says he did it clean and stuff. And Frank now works for Fox Sports 1 as a baseball analyst, and he's one of the game's greatest players of all time, and probably a top player who said against the PED use, which is pretty good because you don't see too many players in Major League Baseball who are against PEDs at all. I think a lot of them back in the day have done it, but they kept their mouth shut like that. But it's good to see Frank Thomas took a stand on that. That's about it on that. And don't forget Facebook friends and YouTube followers. Tomorrow, 3 more video blogs. The first one's going to be about the top 10 players in Cleveland Indians baseball history. And the second video subject of the day will be about what happened 21 years ago on December 18th, 1993, a day that Fox arrived as a major network because they got the NFC rights from CBS. Tell you about the story about that, and the third and final video blog of the night, personality profile about the greatest NBA player of all time, Michael Jordan. Don't forget Facebook and friends and YouTube followers. Future video blogs in the coming days and weeks will be about the top 10 Cleveland Indians pitchers of all time, ravishing Rick Rude, my 2015 predictions about NBA are going to be a little bit of revised on that. Also 2015 predictions in the NHL, a little bit of a revisement on that. In the 2015 NFL predictions, a little bit of revisement on that. And other stuff like the top 10 Detroit Tigers pitchers of all time and players, and Cincinnati Reds pitchers and players of all time, classic television series like McMillan and Life and Columbo, McCloud and McMillican and Life, because I've covered Columbo already. And don't forget, it's going to be sooner or later, Julie Broughton and Heidi Lee Pratt will get their video blogs. Love these, love the support I'm getting on these Facebook and YouTube with likes and views. It's growing. These video blogs are growing. Have a good night, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. Bye now.